Alright, I'm here to run this back. My most successful video last year in terms of reception was my king cake video. There was actually a decent sized handful of people that tried the recipe and came back to leave testimonials in the comments on the video. For me, that's not really common at all. This year with Mardi Gras coming back around, I wanted to capitalize on that video. It was just a home run from all angles and I didn't want to pretend that something else would be better. So I decided to make this video showing a few different variations of that recipe. And on this video I'm going to focus on 3 different types of fillings, which is the classic cinnamon, chocolate, as well as cream cheese. But I'll reiterate that everything about that video was pretty much perfection, so you can still go back to it if you want to follow it and make it. It's really good. I did change a couple of things for this video, which I'll explain when we get to it, but for the most part it's the same dough and process, so let's get into it. All 3 of these king cakes have the same exact dough and the same exact icing, so I'll go through those one time and then I'll explain each of the fillings. What makes this dough so soft and not dry even for days after you make it is the Tangzhong paste, which I explained in last year's video. It's a Japanese baking method where you hydrate a little bit of the flour and cook it, which for science reasons helps the dough to maintain its superior texture for longer. So into a wide saucepan I'm adding 60 grams or a half cup of bread flour, 180 mils or 3/4 of a cup of whole milk, and 120 mils or a half cup of water. Just whisk that constantly over medium heat and within like 5 to 7 minutes it should start to glob together and form this pasty texture, and that's how you know you're done. Don't go too long because it'll burn or you'll overmix it. Set that aside to cool slightly and we're going to proof some yeast. Into 120 mils or a half cup of warm whole milk, I'm going to add in about 9 grams of active dry yeast. If you have the packets, just use one packet. It's 7 grams, but it'll be fine. I just add a little more for that punch of fermented flavor. As usual, steal a spoonful of the 100 grams or half cup of white sugar that we already measured. Mix that together and let it sit for 5 minutes to let it become a
frothy boy.
Into the bowl of my stand mixer, I'm adding 660 grams or 5.5 cups of bread flour. I started with a cup less last year, but I always needed to add a lot more, so I'm starting with more now. Then 10 grams or a teaspoon and a half of kosher salt, the rest of that sugar, and a few seconds worth of grated nutmeg. Tastes great. I let the dough hook roughly mix that for about 10 seconds, which I then add in my yeast mixture and the cooled Tangzhong paste. Then I can start letting that incorporate over low to medium speed, and I'll add in my 2 eggs and 2 egg yolks, 1 yolk at a time, which should then mostly bring my dough together into a cohesive unit. And lastly, I've got my 113 grams or 1 stick of softened butter. Just knife in a little chunk at a time to let it start incorporating. Once all that gets going, you can kick up your mixer to high speed and let it knead. Just watch for if the dough is still looking too sticky after a few minutes. If it's not really pulling away from the sides and the bottom, then you should add a little bit more flour. I pretty much always add more than I start with, but you always know it's a good amount when you can touch it and it feels pretty tacky, but it doesn't stick immediately to your hands. After about 8 minutes pass on high, just check to make sure you can see a window pane through it and it can stretch pretty easily. And then you're ready to proof, so grab a large grease bowl and dump your dough into it. Cover that and let it rise for about 2 to 3 hours at room temperature. And then this part is optional. Once my dough is risen, I stick it in the fridge overnight to let it ferment a bit. Obviously, if you don't have the time, you can skip straight to the next step from here, but I think it does enhance the final product a bit if you let it go overnight. But if you are going overnight, just make sure you take it out of the fridge like 2 to 3 hours before you're ready to make it, just to let it loosen up and come closer to room temperature again. We're going to generously dust our clean work surface with some bread flour. Dump the dough onto that and add some more bread flour on top. Just make sure it's coated on both sides. And then we're just going to roll this out into a rough rectangle shape. I really don't think the dimensions matter too much, just roll it to be pretty thin. And it's important that it's even all around. The corners are kind of hard to keep up with everything else, but do your best. And then just using some measuring tape and a pizza cutter, I'm going to divide this into 3 equal strips. If you don't try to buff up the corners when you're rolling it out, the middle piece is usually going to have a lot more mass than the outside pieces. Not the end of the world, but it'll be a thicker log. Anyway, we separate those out a bit and it's time to add our filling. And this is where you choose your own destiny. I have 3 fillings in this video, not to mention my original cinnamon sugar filling, which is detailed in last year's video. That one still might be my favorite, but we'll see with this year's contestants. So I do again make a cinnamon sugar filling this year, but I did it a little differently. In the last video I uploaded, I made the cinnamon rolls that I had in Iceland because the bakery I went to while I was there uploaded the recipe to Instagram, and I really liked what they did, so this cinnamon sugar filling is based off of that. This does include some marzipan, which is almond candy dough, so if you have a nut allergy, just do my filling from last year and you'll be fine. But yeah, this is a sweet kind of almond paste, and it does really well with the cinnamon sugar flavors in a cinnamon roll or in king cake in this case. I got a 3-pack of these on Amazon, so I'll just link that below. So I'm squeezing 150 grams or about 3/4 of a tube into my stand mixer bowl, and then 150 grams or 3/4 of a cup of white sugar. Using the paddle attachment, I just mix that for a few minutes to break up the marzipan a bit, and then similar to how I did it with the dough, I'm going to knife in little chunks of 100 grams or 7 tablespoons of softened butter. Over the course of that butter, things should come together and be more homogeneous, so I'll then just add 12 grams or a tablespoon and a half of cinnamon. And there's your filling. Just keep it at room temperature until you're ready to use use it, which I'm going to use an offset spatula to try to spread this evenly. And as you can see, I had a lot of trouble trying to spread this. I had a little trouble doing this in my cinnamon roll video, but not this much. So I don't know if this needed maybe a splash of water to mix in to loosen it up, but eventually I decided to break this up into little bits with my hands and just kind of making a polka dot pattern all over the dough strips. It's all going to melt together in the oven anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But for now, let's talk about our second filling, which is chocolate. Into a mixing bowl, I'm adding 90 grams or about 6 tablespoons of softened butter, 100 grams or a half cup of light brown sugar, 4 grams or a teaspoon and a half of cinnamon, 20 grams or 3 tablespoons of Dutch processed cocoa powder, natural cocoa powder works as well, a pinch of salt, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Just carefully mix all that together until it looks like really thick brownie batter. Keep it at room temperature if you made it in advance. And I added a little splash of water into this one off camera, which really seemed to help it spread better, so I was able to get more even coverage with this one. I believe that probably would have worked with the cinnamon filling if it's too thick. But one more touch with the chocolate filling, I like to cut up a 113 gram or 4 ounce semi-sweet chocolate bar, and I disperse those chunks evenly on top of the chocolate filling. Those will melt beautifully into the chocolate pockets just like you get in brownies, and who doesn't love pockets of chocolate? But one more filling to cover, and that's our cream cheese filling. Into another mixing bowl, I'm sifting 120 grams or 1 cup of powdered sugar, and then I'm going to zest in about a half of a lemon. I use lemon juice in my glaze, so I already have the lemon every time I make king cake. About a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then an 8-ounce block or 225 grams of softened cream cheese. I just take in small chunks at a time to make it easier to mix, but I'm just using a rubber spatula to turn this homogeneous. This filling might have been the easiest one of the 3 to spread naturally, but the main point in all 3 cases is using all of the filling and distributing it as evenly as possible. I also try to leave a small margin at the top and the bottom of each strip. In my experience, it helps them to seal better after we roll them, which we're going to do next. So just like cinnamon rolls, we're going to roll up each strip along the short edge, keep the seam on the bottom, and then I do like to thin these out a bit by stretching them as much as they can. I can only go as long as the thinnest roll will let me, but this will help us ensure we get a flatter cake instead of a bulky one that bakes straight up. Okay, lastly, we need to braid these together. Just pick one side and meet all 3 ends together. And then this process is really simple. Just take the middle strip and lay it over the outermost right strip, which that one will become the new middle. So take that and lay it over the outermost left strip and just try to keep it tight towards the end and just repeat. When you come to the end, you'll have a beautiful braid. I grabbed some parchment paper and laid it on my really large baking sheet, which I did get a larger baking sheet after last year's video. This one will be linked in the description. Then just carefully try to bring your cake over to the parchment and kind of form it into a ring that hugs the outer edges of the pan. I try to stretch this even further to make it longer. In my experience, the cake bakes better and tastes better when it's longer instead of taller. Just be careful not to tear anything. I still don't know the best way to do this, but I just try to intertwine both edges together. As long as you kind of lightly press them together, they should stick together when they bake. I'm just going to cover this with a kitchen towel for 45 minutes to an hour just to let it proof one more time. In the meantime, preheat your oven to 350F or 180C, and after your cake's final proof, we're going to brush it with some egg wash, which is just 1 beaten egg with a splash of whole milk. Try to get it around the inner and outer edges, anything that's exposed, because the egg wash will get you a nice browning on it. And just let that bake for 25 to 30 minutes. Last year my cakes took closer to 35 minutes, but that's because I had a smaller baking sheet, so they were bulkier cakes. This one being flatter baked faster. You can be sure it's done when it's browned around the edges like this but not burned, and if you really want to check with a thermometer, it should be 180 degrees Fahrenheit inside. I pull that out and immediately brush it with about 2 tablespoons or 30 mils of heavy cream. As I stated in the original video, this helps soften up the edges and make it really rich. After 5 minutes of cooling it on the tray, you can bring it over to some cooling racks. Our last thing we need to do is make the glaze, which I use the same glaze for all 3 of these cakes. You can make a cream cheese glaze for the cream cheese cake and a chocolate glaze for the chocolate cake. Let me know if you'd like to see those in another video. But for this simple vanilla icing, I'm going to take 320 grams or 2.5 cups of powdered sugar, sift that into a bowl, and then add 56 grams or a half stick of melted butter, a pinch of salt, and then 4 grams or about a teaspoon of lemon juice from that lemon, 20 grams or a tablespoon of corn syrup, and then a couple teaspoons of vanilla extract. I start with a tiny splash of whole milk and then whisk this together, and little by little just add whole milk until you get your desired consistency. In last year's video, I said that I don't like a donut glaze on my cake, so I like to make them thicker, and I still stand by that, and I'm going even thicker this year. Who's trying to be thicker in 2023? Sorry. But I don't even want this falling off my whisk when I hold it steady. I just found that this texture works the best for me on this cake. Once that cake cools down completely, at least 30 minutes later, we're going to use a spatula to evenly disperse the frosting over the top. If you did this when it was any hotter, it's going to just melt right off the cake. Don't forget about the outside edges and try to make this even. Lastly, I'm going to sprinkle over some of these Mardi Gras sprinkles. I can't find this kind anymore on Amazon, but I've linked a separate kind below. If you like those colored sugar crystals, you can do that instead, but I just think you're a weirdo for that. And for my chocolate cake, I bought these chocolate sprinkles at the grocery store and used those instead. But how about that? Here's 3 amazing king cakes that I knocked out in a day and a half. Some really popular filling ideas, which hopefully some of you were searching for. These cakes look and smell amazing, and I really wish more people knew about this. Everyone that I've had try this cake, including people on YouTube, have just told me that it's the best king cake they've ever had. Maybe they're just being nice to me, but nobody ever says that about anything else that I cook. I actually got recognized in public for my original king cake video. Some guy saw me at a restaurant and said that he made that for his friends and it was amazing. So it has to be something special. Anyway, this video is nothing until I can compare all three of these fillings. Let's get to the taste test. Don't make this unless you're getting vanilla milk with it. That took way too long, but the result is always worth it in my opinion. Otherwise, I wouldn't keep doing it. But if you're only making one of these, it shouldn't be too bad. Hopefully you have some options for everybody and everybody's preferences here. I mean, you can never go wrong with your original cinnamon, but a lot of people rave about chocolate cinnamon rolls, and this is really similar to that. And then a cream cheese filling is always welcome. I didn't really think I could top what I did last year with the recipe, so hopefully making different varieties of it is sufficient. But without further ado, it's time to dive in. Of course, starting off with the OG cinnamon. Yeah, that's as good as ever. It's a bit different with this type of cinnamon filling. I might prefer what I did in the original, but I think there's something to it. It turned out really well in the cinnamon rolls that I made last video, and it still fits really well with this king cake. But now on to variation number 1, which is chocolate. Oh yeah, that's super satisfying. If you're a chocolate lover, this is the perfect one for you. The bitter sweetness of the chocolate meshes really well with the richness of this brioche. But last but not least, this cream cheese. Yeah, that one feels a little lighter. I guess with the lemon zest to brighten it up. It's pretty reminiscent of the store-bought cream cheese filled king cakes, except better. The filling tastes pretty similar, that is, but the cake itself is just leaps and bounds better. And I think that's still the takeaway from this, is that it doesn't really matter what you fill it with. As long as you use this base recipe and you braid the brioche and you make it like this, you're really not gonna go wrong. I still can't think of any way to improve the recipe. I've made it a few times since last year and it just hits every time. So I really think it's a winner. I hope more people try this. Hopefully this video can reach more people. I'll probably continue having fun with it, trying different fillings. If you have any filling suggestions, let me know. Maybe I'll make a part 2 to this if I have time. But otherwise, just try this in general and you will be happy. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Be blessed, and I'll see you next time. Gotta go back to the original.